Good evening, gentlemen. You were both given your instructions in the dressing room. I want you to protect yourself at all times. Is there any questions from the Lewis? Any questions from Briggs? Both of you touch gloves. Come on. Come on, come on.
They didn't want to touch gloves, did they? Frank Cappuccino, who is the referee in the biggest fight ever in Atlantic City, the Tyson Spinks affair that lasted just 91 seconds. Is Tyson watching, I wonder, tonight on the eve of his $4 million appearance as a wrestling referee?
Well, Lennox doesn't want to get by his corner. He wants to be in there for the action.
And Lewis very assertive from the word go, and putting Shannon Briggs onto the back foot. And Briggs gets in there with a good countering right hand punch to make Lewis think. Briggs coming off that hugely controversial win over George Foreman, which has been the subject of an investigation. But he showed unsuspected heart and quality of chin on that occasion. Briggs, of course, in the blue shorts, the yellow of Lennox Lewis, making the third defense of his second reign as WBC champion. It's his 7th world title fight here tonight.
And Briggs showing fast hands, good reflexes, looking for the left hook and the right hand over the top.
Briggs, quick hands, the fast counter-punching type, usually has a decent jab. Sometimes in the past, people with good jabs have troubled Lennox Lewis. Remember the fights with Ray Mercer and the early part of the fight with Frank Bruno down in Cardiff. Lewis struggled that night before asserting himself. It's a good start, this, by Briggs.
It is a good start. He looks nice and loose. Lewis just looks a little tense. He's trying just a little too hard at this point, trying to get that right hand in.
We worried about whether Briggs had serious trouble with his left hand. He was seen having treatment on that earlier this week, but he's been snapping out that jab early on here. Briggs's confidence will have been lifted by going all those rounds with Foreman, who may be an ancient monument now, but can still hit a bit. This is good stuff with the fast jab here from Shannon Briggs. Certainly not phased in any way by the look of it.
No, he's making a good start, confident, getting the left hook off well. The jab's been okay.
Briggs can sometimes look a little too upright and static for a fighter with his style. Left hand, oh, he's got Lewis there! Lewis caught by a left hand, and he might well have gone down but for the ropes. What a turner up here. Another left hand, and Briggs piling in the punches. And we have a real upset, possibly. Lewis is all over the place. He's caught with another left hand. His defense was really badly open then. Only 7 seconds left in the first round, which has been sensational here. Lewis in terrible trouble.
But what about that? A fantastic round for Briggs. He hurt him with a good left hook, kept the punches going in. Lewis was all over the place in that round. A desperate round for him. Who would have thought it? A great start for Briggs, whose confidence must be sky high at this point.
Well, he said, I've been in with a legend like George Foreman. Why am I going to feel any fear against Lennox Lewis? We wondered if those were just brave words. But the reality has been that Briggs has lived up to all his boasts pre-fight.
He didn't seem to get full weight behind that, but it was enough to have Lewis on unsteady legs. There, just a short little hook. Lewis goes backward. He piles the pressure on. Good body punches. The left hook follow-up. He was really all over Lewis at that point.
Well, Lennox Lewis and his camp must be wondering whether this is going to turn into the kind of nightmare he had with Oliver McCall in his only defeat. Knocked out that night by a right hand thrown blind by McCall and then stopped on his feet.
But Lewis has to try and get his punches off. He's very, very tense. His jab's going out slowly, and that's allowing Briggs to come in with those quick hooks. Lewis has got to speed up with that jab, double it up, try and get the balance wrong from Briggs.
Good chopping right hand there from Lewis, but he is troubled by the speed of Briggs.
Come on, when I say break, step back, man.
Briggs beaten just once, blown away in 3 rounds by the journeyman Darryl Wilson. He claimed he had asthma that night caused by dust mites. He's been spraying his room here in the hotel to keep them away, and have clearly done a pretty good job. He has no problems here so far. He's made a wonderful start, but can Briggs build on that? Can Lewis find himself?
Well, Lewis on the back foot now. He's got to try and keep that jab going out. It's the key here for him to use that jab. He's got to try and keep Briggs off balance. When Briggs starts leading with his left jab, you can guarantee the hooks are coming behind that.
Lewis doing better in this second round.
You're holding, Lennox.
But Lewis, worryingly so, looking to hold inside. He's still trying to clear his head. I don't think he's fully recovered.
Looking for that trademark chopping right hand. Briggs shaking his head as if to say, no effect. Left hand, again. Lewis looking disorganized. Briggs finding some very unexpected angles for these punches, and Lewis is troubled technically in there at the moment. It does not look good for him early on.
Well, the crowd were all on their feet with that left hook. This is good works for Briggs. Lewis just can't find his timing, can't find his rhythm. He's uncomfortable in there.
He nodded at Briggs as well after he'd been caught by that left hook. Lewis unable to dominate here as he did against Galota, but beginning to get that jab working.
That's better for Lewis. Punches starting to go in. He's got to keep busy. He's better when he's got Briggs on the back foot and he's throwing punches. When he waits, he can get caught.
Well, they both had their moments in that second round. But those who thought that Shannon Briggs was just a cotton wool challenger of convenience for this title have had to reappraise their ideas very quickly indeed here.
They really have. Lennox Lewis certainly has a fight on his hands.
You see it working?
This is no guy that's just came for the payday. He's coming to fight. Being very cagey in there. That was a good left hook. Following up, Lewis got his wits about him, getting his hands up, looking to cover up, looking to try and bob out the way. He got out of that bit of trouble, but he's just got to be careful. These fast punches, he just can't cope with the speed of Briggs.
Will Briggs be able to sustain the effort, though? This man who listens to opera to relax pre-fight, writes his own rap songs, surfs the internet, plays chess, a kind of boxing intellectual, if you like. And Briggs getting caught by those right hands of Lewis at the start of the round. Lewis here looks as if he's just moved up a gear at the start of the third round. Almost as if he's saying to Briggs, well, you've had your moments here, but now I'm going to show you what being heavyweight champion is about. Let's see if Lewis can continue to dominate.
Well, Briggs is fighting with confidence since the good first round. Lewis has got to take that away. He's got to be dominant. He's got to be the boss. He's got to start throwing more punches.
Get off him, Lennox. Briggs, step back, stop punching, both of them.
Now he blocked those punches, Lewis, got his gloves up that time, looked tighter in defence. I think Briggs certainly surprised him early on here.
This is now better. Now he's getting the centre of the ring. Now he's been dominant behind the jab, pushing Briggs back. Briggs starting to move around. This is where Briggs can't get balance. Lewis has got to keep doing that. The jab has got to stay busy.
Come on.
This is the best yet from Lewis in the third. He's got his jab working. And Briggs, who was caught several times by even the slow punching Foreman, is having to ship these. The tide may be turning significantly here in round 3. Briggs cannot continue to take those right hands at this regularity.
Well, Briggs is shaking his head as if they're not hurting, but he's not getting out of the way of the punches, and this is much better from Lewis.
All right, break. Both of you step back. Both of you.
Begins to look for a moment, and I say for a moment as if Lewis may have worked out the problems.
Lewis just looking as they're starting to loosen up. The jab was a good weapon from Lewis, really ramrod jab. Now he's starting to get his combinations behind it.
Well, he's being caught with that jab now, but with sickening regularity, Shannon Briggs.
Stay off his neck, Lennox. Stay off his neck.
And a different kind of reality may be crowding in on him here, breathing more heavily. Briggs. Big round that for Lewis. Maybe a breakthrough and pivotal round in the fight. Shannon Briggs, one of the New York papers this week, called him the fighting dust mop. He said if you could turn him upside down, you could polish the furniture with him.
Yes, he certainly has a mop of hair on his head. I think a lot of people were writing him off, but it's been a very good start for Shannon Briggs. For Lewis getting the best of the third, just starting to get his boxing together. The jab has been the key. He started to use that more. There's the left and right behind the jab. He's just warming up. He's just getting his rhythm. I think he was very, very psyched up at the beginning of the fight, maybe too much. Now he's starting to loosen up, find his rhythm, and this is so much better.
Well, can Briggs re-establish himself? Does he have the necessary technical ability to live at this level with Lewis, who's got him hurt here right at the start of the round? Lewis, I think, fancies that he may be able to get this job. He's holding on to the ropes to keep himself up for a moment there. Right uppercut, then one to the body. Lewis here in top gear. Very menacing. Briggs is really staggered by a right hand. His legs stiffen. He's all over the place. The end could be near here. Lewis is just looking here now to pick the punches.
Briggs is trying to fight back. Could be dangerous when he's hurt, but Lewis just has to keep himself upright, keep his hands up. Don't lose concentration and keep the pressure on.
Big right hand, big chopping right hand. Shannon Briggs, I don't think will get through this round. He looks all out. Frank Cappuccino will give him the mandatory 8. Looks into his eyes, but Briggs has next to nothing left, I fancy, here. And Lewis, cool, clinical, trying to think his way into the finish, which must be imminent now. It looked dodgy early on. Briggs will perform a miracle if he can get through this round.
Lewis has to look for the right punches, find the gaps here, break him down.
Caught with a countering left on the way in. Is that a last act of defiance from Shannon Briggs?
Well, this is a brave performance from Briggs. He can always look as if he can be dangerous when he's up against the ropes. Lewis has to keep his concentration.
And Lewis, just for a moment, breathing heavily himself as if he might have been punched out.
No, Shannon,
Oh, three-punch combination. Another chopping right. Swaying around like a tree in the wind, Shannon Briggs.
Well, what a terrific heavyweight fight this is between two finely tuned athletes, big men who have speed and power.
Come on, let's not play games here, man.
Lewis is looking tired there.
Let him out.
struggling to get more punches going. He has to keep the momentum on.
This is a great comeback here from Shannon Briggs. Oh, Lewis stands in front of him, sets his feet, left, another right. He's down for the second time in the round, Briggs. Will he be able to get up from this one? Counts at 6, 7. He says, I'm all right to the corner. 8. He's allowed to go on. He's been down twice in the round. There's 19 seconds remaining. Can Lewis finish it? No 3 knockdown rule is in operation here. Another knockdown does not mean an automatic finish.
Well, you will never get a better heavyweight round of boxing than that.
Absolutely amazing stuff. Terrific. How did Briggs get through that?
Absolutely unbelievable how he did, but at the end Lewis was looking tired. He'd hit him with so many hard shots. They worried about the chin of Shannon Briggs. Lewis proved that he's got a chin. Maybe he's out of condition against Darryl Wilson. He's proving he's a good fighter. He's tough. Certainly has a massive heart, and he's still fighting back. A tremendous round of boxing.
But Lewis looks tired now, and he was moving on fairly unsteady legs at times in that round.
Unsteady legs, and did you notice where the hands were at the end? He couldn't keep his hands up. He was very, very tired. Some tremendous punches. This is the first knockdown. A big right hand following the left hook there. Briggs, but he's all right there. He nodded a little bit of respect, so he wasn't that badly hurt. But this is a terrific fight.
He surely cannot go on for too much longer, but it's already been memorable in its own way. This full of action. Here's round 5. And Briggs looks to start fast, doubling up on the jab and finding the right hand. Lewis clinically looking to pick the punches, not waste anything. Whatever happens here, Shannon Briggs has probably added to his reputation.
Good left hook and right hand from Lewis. Again, Shannon Briggs is looking unsteady.
He might have him here. One of the problems for Briggs is that his defense does not look good enough. It's too open. Lewis is having no trouble nailing him. Almost biding his time, Lewis, like a lion waiting in the long grass. Oh, and look at that right hand! That may be curtains for Shannon Briggs. He surely will not get up from this, will he? He's going to try, you know. Look at that, that is miraculous. He looked out, the crowd out on their feet in this Atlantic City Convention Center. What guts, what courage, what heart from Shannon Briggs. He was down for the 3rd time, but he won't be able to surely take too much more of this. He's defying boxing logic almost by still being in there.
Well, you can give Shannon Briggs a medal for bravery after this.
Down he goes again, and this time Cappuccino says, I'm not going to let you take any more. Lewis found the punches. It is over in round 5. Lewis retains the WBC Heavyweight Championship in a memorable fight. And was Evander Holyfield watching that?
Well, a memorable fight, but Shannon Briggs at the end threw himself off balance. It wasn't a punch. He missed, fell over, and the referee stopped it.
Yes, it was hard to discern a real punch landing in there, but we may need to take another look at that. He certainly took some very heavy ones, Shannon Briggs. Lewis, he looked bad for him early on. He looks as if he might be getting outspeeded all night and outboxed.
Well, Shannon Briggs, to the argument, he brought speed, and his speed gave Lennox Lewis so many problems. But he was so tough and he was so game, and I think any question mark about the fighting spirit of Lennox Lewis was answered there. He showed himself a tremendous fighter who had so much heart and guts.
There were 13 unanswered punches before Briggs missed and then fell over, and almost all of them had landed. He was a very tired fighter. There were not very many complaints from the Briggs corner. Take another look, Glenn.
This is the first one. He did not look as if he would get up from that. flat on his back, his arms outstretched. It was a beautifully timed right hand, right on the side of the head. Over he goes, and at that point you would never expect him to get up, but get up he did miraculously, only to take more. Second knockdown, another right hand. So now he's under pressure. I think this is the finish. Lewis bombarding him with shots here, unanswered punches, and then a big left hook. He misses. It wasn't a punch that landed.
But he'd taken plenty in that rally.
He took enough. He'd been very, very brave, but I'm sure he was only going to take a lot more. But what a wonderful heavyweight fight. We'll not see action like that many times again in a heavyweight fight.
You have to say it was a strange time to stop it by Frank Cappuccino after Briggs had merely thrown himself off balance, having survived so much. It perhaps was not the best timing, but Lewis was very authoritative in the end. But what a performance by Shannon Briggs, who'd been written off by so many and proved his hearts and guts again. Lewis is still champion.
Was a halt of the bout. The official time, 1 minute, 45 seconds of round number 5. The winner and still WBC heavyweight champion of the world.